was there. I don't have to listen to it.
This week's show because it was a disaster.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
And I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and you're listening to Day Drinking on Delmarva, a podcast about life and culture on the Delmarva Peninsula. Todd drinks because he gets to live here. I drink because I have to live here. And it has been a wild week for me. I left the house. You know, every time I leave the house, it's an adventure. That's why I don't leave so much. You know, I was like this before COVID. I mean, people are like, well, ever since COVID, you don't go out. I'm like, no, I used to not go out a lot before COVID. And what I'm thinking the issue is, and this is pretentious, and I am apologetic about how pretentious what I'm about to. It's I come home with more stories than I leave the house, and I'm like, oh, I'm leaving a house with too many stories to write, and I don't have any time to write the stories I have. And then I go out, and I'm like, oh my God, all this stuff is happening. I have to write it. And I'm so self-centered. I'm like, everybody needs to know all of these things. Right. But they kind of do. So that's been tough. So I got to Ocean Pines this week, and I'm going to talk about that. And I saw you had a Dewey Raw out, and I know you've got some other stuff going on for Dewey Raw, so we're going to talk about that. And actually, before we talk about that, we're going to talk about our sponsor, who's our favorite business, and that is just a business that we like. And this week, it is Good Clean Fun Life Productions. Hey, you didn't see that coming.
I didn't. It was a 50-50 chance, right? Hey, I think we're getting into the summer season. It feels like summer today. I know this is a fall spring, and we'll be smacked in the face with some terrible, wet, gross weather. But it's a good time. Places are opening up again. Not just the Starboard. We talk a lot about that because of our connection there. But restaurants looking to update their menu photos or internal gallery. I'm pushing the photography this week. You know, we do website videography and photography, and Natalie has been doing this for 15 years now plus, and can cover just about anything under the sun. And as far as headshots, food, and just business vibey stuff, I
don't want to drive your business away, but you need a headshot. Whoever is listening, I guarantee you need a new headshot.
Yes.
If you're in real estate, you've needed a new headshot since 1980. It's time. It's not that expensive. It is your face. Stop walking up to people who are like, I don't recognize you. And you're like, well, what about the billboard? And you look at the billboard, and it's a lady or a gentleman that's 25 years younger than you. Yeah. Time, kids. New headshots.
And get a real headshot. Don't do AI. No. It's so bad.
It's crazy bad. Go ahead.
It's just one of those things that is. They need to come up with a new word. Maybe we should come up with a new word. You know the phrase Uncanny Valley.
Yes.
Where it's somewhere where animation looks too very realistic, but not realistic enough, so it's very unsettling.
Yes.
So I feel like that's the same thing, similar, but like they're trying to be real when they're doing VFX and that sort of thing, or animation. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you take a picture with your phone, and phones are great, right? Just straight out of the box. But then you put it through an AI filter, and it makes it look like one of the caricature drawings at the school bazaar. Remember those?
Yeah,
with, the big head,
the great big head,
and those caricatures were just as unsettling and stupid back then. And now, just because a robot can do it with the touch of a finger, doesn't make it any less unsettling. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's good. You never have to say that about anything else, right? Yeah. So there's several things about that. But let's stick to the headshots though for just a moment. I spoke with a gentleman this week. He's a big shot and he sent out this photo of him standing in front of this work of art. And I sent him a note and I'm like, hi, I got your photo. Do you have a different headshot? Because when I crop this to make it look like a headshot, you're going to have that frame coming out of your head. And he was like, no. And I'm like, all right. Well, and I went back and I got an old photo of him to run as the headshot because people think that just because they have a camera, my wife, Natalie's heard this 1,000 times as well. Oh, well, you've got such a great camera. And you also have to have the sense not to have someone have a pole coming out of their head when you take the photo. Yes. And only photographers know how to do that for some reason.
Right.
You can tell, you see these quasi-professional headshots and you can tell by the background that it was the kid, that it was a person's kid, or it was it's
nephew,
a selfie. Something you can tell by the background, and we can tell by the background, and that's beyond the uncanny. It's a sloppiness that people feel. They may not be able to put a name on it, right?
Right.
Nobody thinks Polar Express is Tom Hanks' greatest film.
Right. And that's and getting a real photo is going to be it's going to set the bar where it should be. It's, and you are who you are. So it's, having something else or not doing it right, being sloppy, just like you said, it's a feeling, it's an ick that may not manifest in somebody verbalizing that, but it definitely reeks of unprofessionalism. So especially if we're talking in the professional realm, something like a realtor or something, where you are front facing.
And the other thing about the headshots is it's nice to have done. Back when I had a real job, I used to get my toes done. And it just feel like my toes were cut previously, but when you have a professional cut your toes, you feel good, and you feel good about the experience. And I know that when Kelly does headshots, people are always amazed at just how much fun they have just having them taken. And it's it's not an all day thing. It's half an hour, maybe an hour if they get to chat, and but it's in and out the door in an hour, maybe an hour change. But the experience of it.
Yeah, the experience of it, and then the end result, because I think we may have even touched on it, but I saw somewhere a theory about how the front-facing camera on your iPhone has skewed people's perception of what they look like. It's a nice camera. It has a built-in lighting and some contrasty filters. That's just the iPhone. That's not even swiping on anything. But the thing is that it's an odd focal length. So it's a wide focal length. And of course you have two eyes, and you perceive people very differently. And so when you get somebody who's shooting a 35 millimeter lens with a low f-stop, and you can have that very natural fall off in the background, and also your face is how people are more likely to picture it in real life, and not from a selfie camera, that sort of thing.
I'm actually considering buying another camera to take selfies with, because I don't get any pleasure out of selfies anymore because I don't look like me, and it bothers me. It's like, oh, well, why don't we take the bags out from under your eyes and crease out those wrinkles? Why don't we make you look brighter? I'm like, no, because that's not what I look like, and now I look funny to me. I don't care how I look to other people. I know how I look to other people.
You don't seem to care too much.
No, I know that I'm a 50-year-old guy, 55-year-old guy, but that doesn't mean that I'm looking to pick up teenagers just because it's the age that I am. Just because I'm teenager stalking age doesn't mean that that's why I'm taking the photo. I just want to say something stupid on the internet, and the iPhone has taken all the fun out of that from me.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons. So I am fortunate to be able to have a camera and set up, and even for the podcast, it's always more pleasant to have a nice camera that you can use as a webcam in this instance. And yeah, always good to have. And there's, pretty inexpensive these days too.
Yeah. You can get in and out easy. So
actually,
Good Clean.
I got something on that. We were recording, and maybe this is something that you are up on the times with, because we were recording a Dewey Raw on Saturday in preparation for the opening weekend. I was talking with Meg, who of course is the general manager over at the Starboard, and there were about 90 Delaware seniors that were hanging out there, all girls, all from a sorority. And Meg told a story about they're all and half a dozen of them are walking around with like old digital cameras, just the old one shot, whatever it was. And I've seen this trend before, but it was very pervasive in this group of Delaware seniors. And Meg was asked at one point to, will you take a group shot of us and blah, blah, blah. And the girl is like, okay, so what you do is you just have to frame it and the button is here. And Meg is like, I was born a bit earlier than you, and I grew up with these the first time, so I don't need you explaining to me how a digital camera works.
Well, she may have thought that she was too young to remember when there were digital cameras. It probably could have been a compliment, like, "Oh, you look so young, you may never have seen one of these before. Yeah. This is what we used before telephones."
Who knows?
That's great. Yeah, but I think I'm really considering getting out. I lose track of the Ds. The cheapest D, my wife's starter D. It may have been a 400, may have been a 700.
Yeah, Canon
D80. Who knows?
Oh no,
Nikon. I think
she's Nikon. Yeah, that's I remember that.
But I'm thinking I want to take them out, and when I go around, maybe if I took photos, I would feel better about how. Yeah, I would feel better about how photo takey I am. I'm going to put forth a theory, and we're going to see how it plays out in my life.
Okay.
I think it's better to use a camera at this point than to use a cell phone.
Well, I mean,
I think it feels less
kids
gross
from Delaware
in public.
Yeah.
Oh, they were kids. I'm sorry. I thought you said they were old people.
No, I meant Delaware seniors. I should have University of Delaware seniors.
Ah, that's important because you said I might know, and I deal with dying people. So when you said Delaware seniors, I'm man. Yeah, were they doing their Medicaid look back?
Okay. Now that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Yes. The people who are listening are like, wow, these guys they can see each other, but can they hear each other? That's great.
Not so much.
So everybody go back and re-listen to that story, except the seniors are seniors in high school, and everyone knows that now.
Or comment whether, if you just say Delaware seniors at the Starboard, do you go senior citizen or senior in college?
You know what? The Starboard was the giveaway. The Delaware was the not giveaway. I guess I was picturing more of a Bethany Beach.
Yeah.
Rehoboth kind
Fair
of
enough.
bus tour. That is fantastic. But I think that I think I would feel less gross pulling out my camera, taking a photo, than I do walking around with taking cell phone photos, which I almost don't do at all anymore. It's become something that, when everyone has their camera, it's me. It's because I can't do what everyone else is doing. And when everyone else has their camera out, I'm like, there must be nothing to see. Everyone's looking. Right. There can't be anything to see, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it's almost come full circle, because I think about when we started doing what we started with Good Clean Fun all those years ago, and going to bars and restaurants and having a digital SLR camera. So like, a big camera. Right. In that day and age, because that was the day and age, it was a point and shoot if you had a camera. And going in the bars was something that, always you got a second look, because, what are you doing in a bar? This is where I get drunk and, and talk to
Remember
my
when
buddies.
people used to be surprised that other people had cameras with them?
Yes, yeah, and then because of the cell phone, it was accepted, and it's just realized everybody has a 4K phone in their pocket and that sort of thing. And now it's like maybe it's drifting back to the cell phone is like, give it a second look. It's like, oh, everybody's got one of those.
Yeah.
And if you have something different, maybe that's where the trend is.
Also, I feel more comfortable. I feel like if you carry around a camera, maybe you'll almost be more like a film photographer. Like, I don't want to burn. I mean, it's not, you're not burning space or discs really, not in this day and age. But I don't want to I want to frame the shot. I still do that anyway. And this is what drives me nuts. It's not, I was lucky. I know he's not listening, but in case he is, Tom Melville, was my boss at the Bayside Gazette. And every Thursday when the paper came out, we would sit down and we would go through all my photos, and he'd be like, see this, and he would just point out how my framing was bad. And he did that for 2 years, and then he never had to do it again. Like, once I got it. And that's what you need to have someone else look at it and tell you what they think. Like, it's not just because you end up with a picture doesn't mean you took a photograph.
Right. Yeah.
I think is the way to put that. So do you want to say one other thing that you do, and then I'll talk about it for half an hour, or?
We got a new drone when we were away. We're
wow!
Also pushing drone photography and videography. We had panic bought one when the ban on DJI was getting ready to go into effect. It did go in effect, but it's still, like everything, is getting walked back, or
Right.
doesn't have the teeth that it used to. So we picked up one of the latest models. So it's good for a lot of things. One is sensor, just nice features. One of the features being a object avoidance, which is great because the last drone I crashed when we were in Florida into a palm tree. So It survived. But it was maybe time to
you feel better if you don't crash at all.
Yes, always.
Now, I like the new age of drones. Maybe it was because there was a little bit of break, but now people are using them. I don't want to say sparingly, but opportunistically. Like, it's not like, oh, I have a drone, I have to use a drone. It's like, oh, this would be a good place for a drone. It was a hammer when drones first were being used. It was like, every problem was a nail and the drone was the hammer. Yeah. And now I've seen some interesting things, and just the smoothness of it. You don't have to be 1,000 feet in the air. You can be 10 feet in the air and just get a nice smooth something, 7 feet in the air, just a kind of mildly downward angle. You can get some great stuff with that.
Yeah, like I know we've talked about the crane shot in Forrest Gump and that sort of thing. All that would have gone into that, and now you can recreate something like that just for an opener. It's just a little eye-catching thing to. Even a realtor sitting on a park bench, just like Forrest Gump, and do something like that. I think would be a good way to get attention and maintain attention for,
and of course for house shots. Just this is the house,
and
this
of course,
is the outside.
and of course, yeah.
Very cool. I was at Ocean Pines this week, working on kicking off what will be my next book. It's a history of Ocean Pines, and I was in the history room, and they have a nice little history room in Ocean Pines, and it has all sorts of just mostly documents. There's been some. I'm going to confirm this later on this week. Actually, on Thursday, I think, is when I'm going to confirm this, because next Thursday I have a meeting. But somebody said they bought the whole thing. Boise Cascade bought the whole thing for like 1.4 million in 1968 or something like that.
Okay.
It still seems low, even in 1968 kind of dollars. That still seems low, and it made me think about the world that we kind of came into. You know, we came into the new vacation world. Like, that wasn't the world that people were in before we were born, really. I've worked on another book about a guy who, you know, helped develop Cancun, and it was 1975, 1980 is when like the big what's it called?
Resort or
not the resorts, when you timeshare, the big timeshare booms and things like that. And the thing that shocked me the most, and you know me, I love really, really boring things. One of the reasons that Ocean Pines was so popular so early is that there were tax incentives to have a second home.
Really?
If you try to buy a second home today, they're like, oh, well, you got that much money, we are going to hammer the hell out of you.
Yeah, right.
But that was an early incentive for people to come. You know, you could get, I guess, I don't know if the mortgages were partially tax deductible or whatever, but you know,
man. That's kind of that's just crazy to think. Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy for the history of this whole country. It's crazy to think of people looking around and saying, "Wow, there's so much space, we'll never run out." And they always say that. They always say, "Oh, there's so much space, we'll never run out." Yeah. You know, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're out." I mean, have you seen the empty space? It's in Montana, and it's got rattlesnakes on it. You know. So looking forward to doing that book. If you have any stories about Ocean Pines that you want to share with me, share them now, because I'm getting ready to start digging in. I'm going to put together the outline over the next couple weeks, and I don't know if they're shooting for May, but I think they might be hoping to have it sooner rather than later.
That's a quick little turnaround.
I'll tell you what, between me, you, and the rest of the internet, I guess. I think this is more a Labor Day thing than a Memorial Day thing, but
yeah.
I mean, I'll have the work done, but the thing that people don't realize about books, including many authors until they've written their first one, is like, once the text is perfect, there's months left ahead of you.
Yeah.
like the writing is so much the easiest part. That's why so many of us have just gone online. Like, I wrote the story, but like, now I got to deal with, you know, what are the prices of paper? You know, what printer am I going to use? What size? What leading? What paperweight? All of those things is crazy. So that was, I think that was really the only thing I got to this week, but I did want to talk a little bit about the ways that, that AI has been functioning for me, because I've had a good time with it and other people have had a bad time with it. And I don't know how much AI you've been using.
I've been using less. We had signed up for the for OpenAI, the ChatGPT, and was using that and trying to fit it into my workflow. And I tell you, the only things that I have some. It's not really AI. It's just like enhancements within my editing software. We've talked about that, you know, to reduce background noise or, automatically get rid of ums and ahs and spaces. There are things like that I've used and have been using for a long time, but I have not really gotten into asking something to do, you know, like prompting, going to a specific app and prompting it to do a specific task for me.
Well, two things that I've learned over the last couple of weeks that I wanted to share with you. First of all, if you don't have Canva and you do anything, it's worth it's $150 a year for the basic Canva. Their AI is not. They're like make something for me. Don't ask it. They suck at that. But what you can do, and I wish I had known this earlier because I've wasted so much time in my life. You put together the photo, like the cover photo from this, right?
Yeah.
I'll put together the cover photo for this, and then I'll put that together in Canva, and then I can have any size I want. I like redo that for Facebook, redo that for Instagram, redo that for. I don't have to personally hand redo it like I used to have to when I stopped, because I used to spend a lot of time trying to get all of the photos right on all of the socials, and it was a huge amount of effort for very little return. Now the return isn't much better now, but the effort is gone. So if it's just like click, 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 and it just reformats it, I have to set it up, which I don't mind doing, but, and I know that we just talked about how you should get a real photographer. And I know there are graphic designers out there that are tearing out their hair.
Right.
Because, but I don't use really the logo makers and stuff like that, because it just doesn't understand. I mean, I was never good at talking to human graphic designers. I don't know why AI graphic designers are going to be any better. But I don't know. Did I already talk to you about how I use it to help me write? Because if I didn't, I'd like to briefly, because I think it could be useful for you.
You may have touched on it.
So I write a story, or sometimes I'll conduct an interview. But either way, it's sloppy. And I'll throw it into AI, and AI will put up the bones of it. And then, inspired by the AI bones, but not using the AI bones, I'll rewrite the story.
Right.
And then I'll put it back in, and I'm like, okay, what's wrong with this? And we'll go back and forth. And it'll say, well, in paragraph 4, it slows down. In paragraph 5, you say this, but in paragraph 2, you said that. And they don't go together.
Yeah.
And it has made me so much more productive, and my writing is so much more accurate.
So you're writing, it's not writing for you. It's acting more of like a copy editor, right?
It is absolutely a copy editor for the man on the planet who needs a copy editor worse than anyone except possibly you, but
I have to write something to get.
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking that we had spoken a while ago, and you were talking about trying to write more. And this week I've put out so much stuff, and it's just been great. And it'll help you. I mean, you can what I had to do with a story, a story that I published. Yeah. I wrote the story, and I didn't like it. I'm like, all right, well, what do you think? You do it. And it wrote its story, and I didn't like its story either. But having seen its story, I realized what was wrong with my story and fixed it. And then I put my story back in, and then it's like, okay, yeah, I think we can work with this. And so, that is where I think AI is really successful for people. Like, if you wanted to write your novel, you're going to have a very boring novel. And it does have a lot of that Uncanny Valley stuff. Like, you can tell it is searching for particular beats that aren't my beats, because I do have my own voice. I've been writing long enough that I've developed that. But it's a really useful tool.
And I do follow a couple like AI influencer type people, just like newsy type stuff, and talking about, of course, the Claude is the most popular one, and I heard something the other day that I found interesting, and they were the comparison and the evolution, at least on the good side of the evolution, is that ChatGPT is kind of like an answer machine, and it will give you what you want and can be helpful for finding answers or polishing things and that sort of thing. But the way that they describe Claude is because it's trained on different models and it has a different, thinking system, is that it's more of like a thinking partner than it is an answer machine. So like, the commentary at ChatGPT was always that it's going to, like, I sideswiped a car on my street. What should I do? And ChatGPT will say like, well, you're very brave for admitting that you're still great. very, very overly positive and telling you what you want to hear. But yeah, and then the commentary, and I haven't tried Claude yet, but I think I'd like to.
I can't recommend Gemini. I believe Gemini is probably the best and the most efficient Google product.
And that's what I was going to. That's what I was going to say is that I have been using more Gemini because we are in the Google ecosystem with email and Docs and calendar and everything. And until I want it to be able to watch my YouTube videos. Because
have you asked it?
It can't. It can do the transcripts, but that's still like I need to get like a bot to go through and download the transcripts, then upload it to Gemini so Gemini could read the. I want to train it on all of the shit that you and I have done and that I've done, and then it's like, okay, this is my brain,
Yeah, I'm leaving you my brain to hold. Let me recommend to you Google the Notebook ML. You can put YouTube. Yes. You can put YouTube right into that, and it can process YouTube videos.
Yeah,
and it's also the free version there is a free version and the free. I haven't paid anybody anything yet. I don't know what you get if you pay, because you get so much if you don't that I don't. Right. But I don't need it for a lot. Like I said, I need. I don't have any colleagues anymore to tell me that I've gone off the rails or that I've added something that was like today. I added something that was snarky, and it's like, yeah, it's funny, but does it help the story? And I'm like, no, you're right, Google. It doesn't help the story.
Shut up, Google. I wanted to be snarky.
So but it also that kind of thing gives me confidence that it is helpful.
Yeah.
So. I'm all in. I'm still all in on Google, except for I like my Macintosh products. But
they should make something for us, people that like that.
Google and Apple have like the next Siri will be on Gemini, is what I heard. So hopefully that'll make things a little bit better. But
yeah,
that does it. We are out of time. We went cruising right along, and I don't even remember what we wrote down, but I hope we got to some of it. Go ahead.
I will say this. Maybe you were leading into it. We're going to go try to go live for Dewey Raw, and we'll be on the Good Clean Fun Instagram on Sunday, this coming Sunday. This
will be out Monday, but hopefully the promotions will be out before that. So
perfect.
Do a commercial. Let me see if I can cut this commercial right out. Ready, go.
Dewey Raw. Catch us live on Sunday, March 15th. I don't know, sometime during the afternoon. And we're going to be reporting from the opening weekend at the Starboard. There'll be a cast of characters, many of whom will be slightly inebriated and some who will be completely inebriated. I don't know. It's fun. Check it out.
Well, what's your Instagram handle?
At goodcleanfunlife.com.
Cool.
Or
and
just Good
that
Clean
way,
Fun.
Yeah, that way I can maybe I can cut it up. Maybe I'll have AI do a commercial, and that will be fun.
Yeah, right.
But until next time, remember that at the beach,
it's happy hour whenever you say it is. Cheers.